All right, wish I would have did this on stream, but I'm just now seeing it. Shout out to Jackson Kruger, man. He did a breakdown of Shedeur's first start, not start exactly, but y'all know.
All right, let's talk Shedeur Sanders. Let's have some overreactions and everyone freak out. Like, listen, the guy played in under half of a football game that he didn't even know he was going to play in. And it's against a defense that likes to throw everything, including the kitchen sink, at you. So, like, I'm not going to freak out and panic no matter what the situation was. But doesn't mean we
Respect
can't break down the tape and talk about what we saw, where he has to get better, the things
for
he
sure.
did do well in this game, because there were some flashes. Let's get into it, starting off with this play. So it's going to be a 3rd down and 10. You see that it is, first off, you see the yellow circle. That's what the broadcast put on the screen, but it's worth noting. They have a lot of players on the line of scrimmage. Shedeur has to figure out, who's rushing the passer and who isn't, what the
7
coverage is going
players
to be. It
at the
ultimately will
line
be a zone blitz. Sanders takes a snap. He looks over here, and there's
who dropped
going to
back.
be, I think, 2 things wrong with this route, or with this decision by Sanders. So for one thing, him and his receiver aren't on the same page. His receiver is going to stop. Sanders thinks his receiver is going to continue to go towards the bottom of the screen. So that's issue number 1. But even if his receiver runs this route, this isn't open. Like, Nate Wiggins has this completely covered and probably would be an interception regardless. Ultimately, though, Sanders gets hit as he's thrown. It looks way uglier than you would like there. But, again, maybe if the receiver's there, it's incomplete instead of an interception. But that's just, again, rookie quarterback. A lot of times when you get to the NFL and play against first string guys, it's just defensive backs are a different animal at this level. Like this play being another one where it's going to be, this was actually his next pass. So he throws that interception. Lamar Jackson has a tipped pass interception. So now Sanders wants to return the favor, I guess you could say. You see the concept on your screen, design rollout. Sanders takes a snap. He is going to roll out towards the bottom of the screen. And you see this option. Usually this is kind of, it's an option, but usually what you want here is this player is kind of more in there to create an initial block. And then just, if you want to work all the way back, you can. Kyle Hamilton is there. But I think this is, again, one of those instances of just not.
So just to summarize on that first play, it at least from Jackson's perspective, it sounded like the receiver and Shedeur were not on the same page. Is what it is. I think, you get that chemistry, in practice. And he hasn't had reps with the first team. So that is what it is. This right here, I'm assuming either you dump this off to him, you kind of manipulate Kyle Hamilton right here. You run it as far as you can until you either can pass it or can scramble. So it's one of the two.
Fully realizing how athletic NFL, safeties are. Like, in college, maybe you could get away with something like this, but when you're going up against Kyle Hamilton, who's not just any safety, watch him get in position, and honestly, he's
no, he had to make that decision.
It's Kyle
Owner
Hamilton,
than
who's
that.
not just any safety. Watch him get in
Oh gosh.
position, and honestly, he's upset at himself. In fact, he ended up kicking the football.
Not even that though. I think he could have
He was
hesitated.
upset at himself, which got a penalty on the play after that. So that ended up kind of working out with the delay of game penalty. But ultimately, mistakes here from Sanders early on.
Like he didn't have to throw this at all. He didn't have to force it because again, you got Kyle at an angle. So I know the defender is coming down on Tillman, but Kyle thinks he still has to cover this guy. You could have pump faked it. Pat Mahomes does that very well. Josh Allen too. But they looking at the receiver. Kyle sees the receiver out his peripheral, so you pump fake it, but you still got green grass over here to keep running to. So you kind of pause the defender.
Getting used to the NFL talent level. This play, another one I would categorize as a mistake. It's a 3rd down and 3. You see, again, a mistake that is one that you can just go over and watching tape. We don't know if Sanders is going to be the starter next week or not. I think if Gabriel is healthy, he'll probably still play, I would assume.
For sure.
But, either way, these are the things the coaching staff will go over on film. You see the defensive back right there is going to actually blitz. And this is good news for the Browns, as it turns out, because watch what happened. Watch. That defensive back blitzes. Sanders is looking in that direction. That happens to be his first read, and it's a short route. I mean, sometimes you try and recreate this stuff if you notice a blitz. You don't have to recreate anything. You've won the lottery on this play. Like your concept happens to be perfectly designed to beat.
See, for me here, I don't know what this results in. I can't recall, but he's coming backwards on this route. They need 3 yards. So Shedeur would have to have this winded up already and in throwing motion to make this throw. Nate sees this. Nate, right? Nate sees this. So if he were to throw this now, like if this is his decision now, this would be too late of a throw at this point. He already should have been in throwing motion. And again, he's running backwards. So that momentum might take him underneath the first down line.
What the defense is doing, and I don't,
which is not good.
There's a lot of traffic over, like, with the offensive and defensive line in front. I'm assuming that was the issue here. Sanders decides to pull it back and run, and to his credit, does a good job. He had a couple.
Interesting.
Was the issue here? Sanders.
I'm not mad at him not throwing this again. He would have had to already have his throwing motion, like, again, because everything happened so quick. He should have had his arm already ready to throw it if he was going to do it. So him switching to a run, I mean, I'm not really mad at that decision.
Decides to pull it back and run, and to his credit, does a good job. He had a couple nice scrambles in this game. He is an effective rusher and showed it there. But, like, again, if you're coaching staff, you're like, just make that throw, because you don't know if the rush is going to be open right away, right? Whereas that definitely could have been open. So definitely, a mistake, but then also a really athletic play and a good job after that to still get the first down. And all right, let's talk about the sacks, because that's a storyline. Again, it was something that was talked about in college. He definitely held on to the ball too long in college in a way that worked in college, but you're like in the NFL, you're going to have to figure out a better balance. He had that preseason game where he kept getting sacked. That was the whole storyline. So got sacked a number of times in this game. Let's talk about it. So on this play, you see Shedeur Sanders takes a snap. There is a blitz here. It's a 5-man blitz, and it looks like there's maybe even a quarterback spy as well. So a lot of pressure here for Sanders. And if you look downfield, nothing is open. They don't have like a hot route or anything. So honestly, I think Sanders is going to do the right thing right here. Watch as he tries to juke out a defender and does, but then the second defender gets home and, sacks him. Like, again, Sanders is capable of doing this. The play wasn't working. Why not try and figure something else out on third down? It results in a deep sack of 14 yards. You don't love that. But, like, again, for his talent level, like, test this out, see if it works. I'm not going to freak out about something.
I think Emmanuel Acho said that the Browns got blitzed every single third down. There were multiple situations. I think he said he named like 7 or 8 third and longs, so 3rd and 8 plus that he named, where the Ravens blitzed every third down.
So honestly, I think Sanders is going to do the right thing right here. Watch as he tries.
Everything looks boxed as far as the coverage goes. Only thing he has is Quinshawn, but Quinshawn is on the ground, and you can't make this throw with pressure right there. You can't get that throw off.
Tries to juke out a defender and does, but then the second defender gets home and, sacks him. Like, again, Sanders is capable of doing this. The play wasn't working. Why not try and figure something else out on third down? It results in a deep sack of 14 yards. You don't love that. But, like, again, for his talent level, like, test this out, see if it works. I'm not going to freak out about something like this on third down. This one we can freak out a little if you want to, if you're the freaking out type. Freaking out would be a little bit extreme, I guess, unless, like, I don't, but you know what I mean. Right here, so you see 3rd down and 8. Once again, Baltimore showing a heavy pressure. Shedeur Sanders doesn't know what the concept is going to be. When he takes a snap, now you have an idea. A couple players do drop back in coverage, but they lose the tight end going over the middle. And for Sanders, I mean, this is what you want to see him be looking towards on this play. You want him to see him aware of the blitz, looking over the middle, knowing where to quick.
Now, I respect what Jackson is saying 100%.
Shedeur Sanders,
but let me see.
Doesn't know what the concept is going to be. When he takes a snap, now you have an idea.
His immediate reads are over here, so he's 1, 2, and 3. For him to get to number 4, that's kind of asking a lot for a rookie, especially in this situation. He just got thrown into the game to go through 3 reads and then just switch to 4. He's looking for one of these guys to be open, and I'm assuming this guy right here, because both of these two are running coverage off, so he can make this throw to him.
Do drop back in coverage, but they lose the
Yes, it makes sense. This makes 100% sense. Throw the ball to Njoku. He's right here. He's open. but that's not the play call. You know, it. This is. I don't think this is something you can fault Shedeur for at all. This is just not the play call.
Tight end going over the middle. And for Sanders, I mean, this is what you want to see him be looking towards on this play. These, you want him to see him aware of the blitz, looking over the middle, knowing where the quick routes are going to be because pressure is going to come quickly.
Again, I get that. I get that. Pressure's coming. All right. That none of this is open over here. Go ahead, switch that. Switch. Where's your quick guy? Where's your safety blanket? I get that. I think that's just not an easy ask. That's all.
On these blitzes, and again, this is what teams do to rookie quarterbacks: is they say, "Let's see if you can figure out the blitz. We're gonna blitz heavily, and we're gonna keep blitzing until you figure out how to beat us with that." That's exactly what Baltimore is doing. Sanders tries to again juke out a defender, and you're not doing that.
Gracious, bro.
That's exactly what Baltimore is doing. Sanders.
At this point, I don't even think he's trying to juke out the defender. I think he just pumped it. He got the defender to jump, and so now he's looking towards his quick read. His head is straight now, but he can't get this ball out because now his arm is forward. So for him to wind back, by the time he winds back, a defender's going to be right there. So now he has to try to make somebody else miss. Let's say, again, he gets into the winding motion. You got somebody right here. I don't know if this is Kyle. By the time he gets his ball going forward, the time is backwards. He gets the ball going forward. Defender's going to be in his face.
Tries to, again, juke out.
But he got to try to dip out.
A defender, and you're not doing that. I mean, I would rather him throw the ball away at that point. Listen, trying to juke out one defender is one thing. When there's three guys in your face, that's.
I don't think he's trying to juke all of them out. I generally think here it is, boom. Pumped, made him jump, switched to Njoku, but again, his arm is forward, so there's no. He knows like I can't get into a throw motion that quick, so he has to try to maneuver. Like that's it. Like. You need to have a extremely quick release. I can't even do that with my arm.
Happening. So yeah,
he got to try to get out of there.
That was not an ideal sack. Not a great one right there. Again,
me personally, I'm gonna respect Jackson's take, but me personally, I'm not blaming that on him. I mean, again, you got three receivers over here. These are his reads. 1, 2, 3. To go to 4 for a rookie, it's like, yeah, you know. You're going to get caught up on these three receivers before, like, much longer than you're going to think about number 4. And again, he tried, but again, that's to go through all your progressions like that quickly. Again, I think is a lot of a rookie quarterback.
This play, so this is I think you could factor this, call this one a coverage sack if you want to. Sanders takes the snap. You're going to see that this is not horribly blocked at all by Cleveland, but down the field, you have a few routes that you're looking at. None of them are open on this play, and it actually looks like, I believe it's a Ravens player what he's doing is, it's a Ravens player over the middle who's supposed to cover the halfback, but he says, hey, I think I might be able to get to Sanders before Sanders can read the play and get to the halfback. Watch, that's going to be kind of exactly what he does. Sanders does what he can, but also Roquan Smith was in position, probably wouldn't have gone for anything had the play worked. So either way, listen, when he saw
everything's covered,
the linebacker move in, would have been
going through his progressions. Goodness gracious.
He could have immediately flipped it to the halfback, I suppose so. But, again, that's high-level stuff here. This is I'm not going to expect that out of a guy who just got thrown into the fire. That's more understandable. And, again, ideally, someone would have just gotten open the way the play was designed to work, and he wouldn't be in this situation. This play, a 3rd down and 10, and again, now the game is tied. You could certainly argue that this is part of the situation here, where again, Sanders takes a snap. There is a 5-man rush. Someone is getting through. It's tough, and I think one criticism that I would still put on Sanders on some of these sacks, even though like they're not all his fault, is I do think it's fair to say sometimes he exacerbates these issues. Sometimes he, adds fuel to the flames. It's already a bad play, and he makes things worse, right? Trying to make things better. It's almost like he has a broken microwave, and so he's using a sledgehammer to try and fix it, which just...
I can totally respect that, but I also do respect just trying to make a play. When you feel like the play calling is not great, and you're trying to do something, and we know. We know. If you don't know, the offensive play calling for the Browns has not been great this year. I don't know how good their passing numbers are this year overall, but I'm pretty sure they're not great. So I mean, at Colorado, I don't know how it was his last year there, but the first year there, the play calling was not that good. So sometimes he gonna hold the ball a little longer. Like I'm trying to get as much as I can out of this play. I'm gonna hold it just a little longer. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna try to wait for something to get open. Have I seen that in this breakdown yet? No, I haven't. But
makes the thing worse. Watch how he tries to scramble backwards and ends up throwing it and doesn't get it to the line. That is an intentional grounding penalty, which pushes them further back in a tie game. That gives Baltimore field position, right? It does matter, even though a lot of these are on third down. Listen, losing field position.
And as a rookie, I think he's gonna learn these things. You know, he's gonna learn I can't run out of certain situations like I potentially could in college.
Does matter, even though a lot of these are on third
These
down.
guys are a lot faster.
Losing field position.
Maybe he genuinely thought he could run out of this. Maybe he did, you know. And I don't think that's I'm holding the ball too long to hold the ball long and try to, you know. And at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure the intention of him holding the ball longer than he should is related to him trying to extend the play to make a play. But in this situation, maybe, you know, and I think it's something that comes with time that he's going to learn, you know.
Is not the end of the world on a third down.
I'm gonna have to throw the ball away sooner.
Now he did make a couple of nice throws.
These guys are a lot faster than I expect.
I don't know exactly what happened here. Maybe it was just like maybe he's one of those quarterbacks that's better when he has to throw on first down than on third down. I don't know, but like here you have Harold, or maybe just the plays happened to work better here, or maybe he got more comfortable because he was playing longer. I don't know, but you have.
I'm gonna give the Browns that here and there. Like at least once a game, they'll have at least like one really good drive. At least one really good drive. But the rest of the game would be like, what is going on? You know? Now I only watch highlights, but you know, and again, in that context, they will have one really good drive. Like, why can't y'all repeat that? You know?
Route, Harold Fannin Jr. going to be going over the middle here. Watch as Sanders is going to take the snap, and this is going to take a minute to get open. You have a tight end running over the middle. Could take a second, but ultimately, you know, and maybe part of it too was just, I mean, they didn't blitz on this play, on a couple of these plays, trying to play back, which is probably not the right call. Sanders makes a nice throw, and hey, maybe something like this
a very good throw.
To believe, I don't know.
You know, it's kind of funny because the announcer said Njoku's open. And like they're pointing out that he should have went with Njoku, and then he ended up hitting Fannin for a deeper gain, a bigger gain. But I think that was kind of interesting as well. But that was a good throw, very good throw.
Maybe if you go up against a team that's just going to drop back and play coverage, that could play to Sanders' strengths a little bit better. That is how he played well against the Carolina defense in the preseason back then. Although now we got to go over here. So on 2nd down and 5, you know, there was also a check down. Jerry Jeudy made a nice play to get to this situation. This is the one that's going to have a really good play and one that he would like to have back. So you see a Baltimore player, you know, that I've circled. Watch as when Sanders takes a snap, he gets straight through. But look at Shedeur Sanders moving outside the pocket, throwing down the field. I mean, this is down 7, a real opportunity. How about this for a potential first ever passing touchdown? And again, he did the hard part. He's still moving, but he wasn't like getting hit as he was getting thrown, as he was throwing. He wasn't having to, like, you know, fully throw this one off balance, but it's just not on target. And again, it's a tough play.
Oh my gosh.
It is a tough play. But it's the NFL. Like, if you're going to win games and you're going to win divisional games, you're going to have to make a tough play here and there. So
just put a little too much on it.
The guy played less than half of football in, you know, such a tough situation to get thrown into right here. And it was a close game. So Baltimore, you know, they're not going to take it easy on you. Not that you'll find many teams that will, but especially not Baltimore, who's fighting for their playoff lives. I mean, it's about as tough of a situation as you can ask for. But again, it's the NFL. You're not going to get easy situations. So only one game, plenty to learn from. We've seen plenty of guys come in, like even like veteran backups when they.
And again, I think this is a situation you get better with getting the reps, you know? Like you work on that time, you work on how far you should throw the ball, but you need to be in these situations and you need these reps. And if you're not getting that, then you know, you gonna look rusty when you go out there. And again, he is a rookie, so he's gonna look very rusty. But you know, I think people calling him trash. Like you got to get to do some grace. You know, every no rookies are rookies. You know, everybody who come into the league, you know, can't call nobody trash. You made it to the NFL. I think that's fair. And you know, then we got to give everybody grace. You know, it's gonna take time. And again, you have to take into account that this offensive system has not been good throwing the ball this entire year, no matter who the quarterback has been. So, so if he does make some mistakes, you know, you got to take into account he's a rookie. Got to take into account he has not had any first team reps this season. You got to take into account that the play calling is not great. So he's working with more against him than is on his side to an extent. But
get thrown into the fire in the middle of a week don't look great, but once they get first team reps, things look better. We'll see if that happens.
And low key, we could say the same thing for Dylan Gabriel. Aside from he's had first team reps, but the play calling has not been great this year offensively.
So Sanders, we'll see if he even plays again, because maybe Gabriel will be healthy. Who knows? But ultimately, interesting, and I'm sure everyone about this Shedeur Sanders thing is going to be very normal and cool. That's what I'm expecting. Everyone's going to be normal. So yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love.
All right, shout out to JK. I like Gabriel and I like Sanders. I would like them to be on two different teams and both get fair shots in at least some decent offensive situations. But yeah, I think if you're the Browns, bro, you know, you got to do some reflecting, because if neither one of these QBs play up to par, and Joe Flacco left and played good, Tyler Huntley, he was on y'all roster in the preseason. Y'all let him go, and he won a game with the Ravens this year in the regular season. I think one or two he won starting, but you know, you got to do some reflecting. What are we doing? You know, what are we doing wrong? But let me know your thoughts, man. Subscribe, stay tuned, stay blessed.